There's a paradox which makes building Arnold Rimmer a problem. As a hologram, the list of things he can interact with is very short. He can speak to people, he can use computers, as shown in the episode Queeg, and last, he can use a single weapon, the Holowhip. The paradox is that he is notoriously uncharismatic, obscenely dumb, and completely cowardly. The last makes no sense because he's almost impervious to damage. We have in the build series thus far accessed the character's potential. We have no choice but to continue to do that, but it feels wrong with Rimmer somehow. Another striking problem. His special stats need to reflect his lack of intelligence and charisma, but what about the surplus points? So here's what I got. As mentioned, he is nearly unharmable, so we'll give a high endurance. I toyed with the idea of using console commands to make him invulnerable and incorporeal, but he can't walk through walls, fall through the floor, or teleport because his hologram is projected by a small device inside of him called a light bee. We'll also buff out his strength. That doesn't make any sense, but it's just a useless dump stat because we'll never use it for anything. Here is his initial special stats. He has low intelligence and low charisma. Unfortunately, it's all he'll ever have the opportunity to use. This is the Rimmer paradox. Our model for this build is the soft light era Rimmer hologram. He cannot touch anything, but we're going to have to cheat to open doors. There's no way around it. Even if we use no clipping, he still has to activate them to enter interior areas. We cannot avoid doing the one thing he gets the most practice doing, which is speech. This has to be his primary skill, and with it, he'll lie, convince, and trick his way to victory. Many quests can be worked around with a speech check, and in the spirit of Arnold Judas Rimmer, we're going to cheat and quick load every one until they pass. I think he'd want it that way. And despite being a hologram and an idiot, we've got to use science. He uses computers in the aforementioned episode, on Starbug, and with the computer-generated interfaces for total immersion games. You could make a case for Barter since it's shown how much a tightwad he is, or for medicine as I rationalize a few chems, or even for melee weapons if you must, because I mentioned a weapon earlier. The Holowhip. The closest equivalent is Jingwei's Shocksword. It's a reward for completing Operation Anchorage. If he must use anything, this is his only option. And it's a convenient option too, because as shown in a few episodes, he can touch and interact as a living person in any computer simulation. So it's alright to do anything you like in Operation Anchorage and Tranquility Lane. His clothing is computer generated, but we'll forego the logistics to wear something suitable and forget where it came from. He looks very Rimmer in the utility jumpsuits and any military attire, and he looks especially Rimmer in the Enclave officer's outfit. Otherwise, there are only a few things he can use. I'll allow Stimpaks and Med-X with some vague nanobot rationalization. I'll allow Mentats, citing the mind swap used in the episode Mothership. And he has the ability to call up a book to read, so I'm saying skill books are alright. And lastly, I see no reason why he shouldn't be able to turn in Brotherhood of Steel holotags. They've got Hollow in the name, so yeah. Now you can use the faux Holowhip if you want, but I didn't. I ran from every avoidable fight, much as Rimmer would, and used Sergeant RL3 in the few places I absolutely had to kill something. I also discovered that he can punch in the code at the end of the main questline, so long as you have Broken Steel installed. To keep him around, you'll have to maintain neutral karma, but I didn't find this to be so hard to do. If you act like Rimmer, always asking, what's in it for me, you'll usually come out okay. Accessing a red computer or donating to charity will balance you out if you go over one way or the other. But while we're staying neutral, make use of that Impartial Mediation perk at level 8. That speech buff is crucial. Alright, Jesus, that was worse than Samuel Tarley. It's nice to see a working class hero come up in the world, though. Well done me. Check back next week for a build almost as contrived. Crichton. Thanks for watching.
He's a fantastic swimmer.